I'm going to show you two small clips. They're about 40 seconds in total of two golfers hitting holes in one. The second golfer is like 8 or 9. I mean, you just see how happy he is. Some bitch, I never hit one. But I have 3 hole-in-one stories that I'll talk about after you watch 40 seconds worth of clip. I've witnessed in my foursome 2 separate holes in one. Right when the ingrate was graduating or had just graduated, Marie had a set of clubs, and she had been taking lessons, and we were still living in Stockton. Anyway, there's a little kind of sort of a pitch and putt that you could walk out in Farmington, out Highway 4, east of Stockton. And they had a couple of, more pitch and putt holes, but they had at least 3 120-yard holes, so there were some legitimate holes there. Well, anyway, the ingrate and Marie and I are on the tee, and it's about 110 or 15 yards with probably a 70-yard carry over a flood control channel. God, these hard seas are just a struggle now. My stutter has historically, over my 59 years, changed. I have no explanation for it. Anyway, so Josh tees off, and he just doesn't get a hole in one. He hits it off the tee straight into the cup, and I can't recall if I've seen this maybe 1 or 2 other times on the TV highlights. I mean, not like the guy, the older dude, or, the 2 ones here where they hit it on the green and it rolled in. No, the ingrate flew it right in the cup. And we were stunned it stayed in the cup. I mean, it clanged like nobody's business. And we were jumping up and down, hooting and hollering. It was a really good feeling for the ingrate and I when he was still my son. Sadly, he made the decision one day that he didn't have a dad growing up. And my parents and his mom, when I asked them, what the hell here, you're letting them say this about me, they all just have played Switzerland. So anyway, the second hole-in-one was with the guys that I worked with. Jerry, who took over the dispatching after me, and then Jeremy, the fleet manager. And we had a fourth, and I want to say it was Jerry's son, Jerry Jr. I don't think it was Steve. Anyway, we're playing at, whatever they named Tony Lima, Monarch Bay in San Leandro. It used to be Tony Lima. Now, Tony Lima, Lema, was from San Leandro, and his name was Champagne Tony Lima because every time he won a golf tournament, he was in the PGA. He won the British Open one year. He would buy the press crew champagne, so they named him Champagne Tony Lima. The Lima family still live in San Leandro. Anyway, he was a famous golfer. People at the time knew him, and I think he died in a plane crash. I want to say that's it, but he passed, and the golf course in San Leandro was named Tony Lima for a long time. All of us who grew up in San Leandro and played there, that's what we all named it. Anyway, we're on the 10th hole, on the 10th tee, and it's about 130 or 40 yards. It's a straight, easy shot, no problem. Well, Jerry, we all tee off, and we're watching Jerry tee off, and Jerry tees off, and he says, I think it's a little short. Yeah, it's short, all right. It lands, takes 2 hops, and rolls about 8 feet into the cup. And we're screaming and jumping up and down, and I'm just screaming at him, you motherfucker, you said right to us, you think it's short, you bastard. And he's just laughing, and we all just had the best time. So I have seen 2 holes in one. Now, I've got a different hole-in-one story. In fact, I'm dying of thirst. Let me take this inside. I screwed the pooch here and put the wrong clip on, so I'm redoing it. The third hole-in-one story is about my Hanai cousin Haim, who's cousins with my Hanai cousin Moon, who I've talked about the Tahoe tournament and when we watched the Japanese guys almost drive into the pond at Tahoe Paradise in Myers. Anyway, they have a guy in their circle named the Growler, and the Growler is, well, now a retired CHP officer. And so the Growler and the CHP buddies are putting on this pretty big charity golf tournament. It's 144 golfers, and it's full. And I mean, they've got free food and drinks and food at some of the tee boxes and sponsors, and it's really a big deal. Well, one of the par 3 sponsors is a car dealer, and he puts up a car. If you hit a hole-in-one, if you're the first one, you win a car. Well, the car dealer doesn't really give the car away. The car dealer spends X amount of dollars on an insurance policy, and this is done all the time. I know some of you are thinking, I've never heard of this, but by God, this is how golf tournaments like this, this is how car dealers put up a car for a hole-in-one at a tournament like this. They buy the insurance policy, and there's criteria to the hole. I mean, you can't have a 10-yard hole for a hole-in-one. Now, this is important. So Haim is out on the course. He gets to the car hole, and you know what happens. He hits about the purest goddamn shot of his life, and Haim is like a 6'7" handicap. If he shoots over 80, he's pissed. So, I mean, the guy knows how to golf, and they've been golfing since he was about 5 years old, and he's my age. So he strokes the purest shot of his life, and it rolls in the hole. He wins the car. God, it's a great day. Well, the guys on the hole, like the marshals, radioed in, hey, you know, we have a hole-in-one on the car hole. Well, as Haim finishes up his round, the guys from the course come out to verify the hole, and when Haim gets off the course, Growler meets him and has to tell him, dude, you didn't win the car. The hole wasn't long enough. The course screwed the pooch and didn't put the tee blocks far enough back, so you didn't win the car. Well, Haim's brother is a very good lawyer. I've had him refer me to somebody. So, you know, Haim talks with his brother. His brother says, dude, you're going to have to sue Growler and the other CHP officers who put the tournament on. You know, you can't sue the course. These are the guys who should have verified it, and these are the guys, if you want your car, you're going to have to sue. And bluntly, I'm not sure you have a strong case. So it's like, I got fucked out of a car. You don't sue your friends. So, and I know this because when we hit the deer on patrol, taking the gal to jail, and I talked about this, Charlie, my brother in Kansas, during the times of trouble, I had insurance writer through AAA for medical coverage. So my medical care, my ambulance ride, it was $100, was, you know, handled. But I wanted my sick leave reimbursed. I didn't want, like, pain and suffering. You know, it's not that big of a deal. But I wanted my sick leave reimbursed. And Kansas is a no-fault insurance state. So if you're in an accident, your own insurance covers you. Well, I had AAA in the Bay Area, so I went to them and said, do I have a claim? And they said, well, no, because we're a fault state, and we would sue the person at fault, but it's Kansas and it's no fault, so we're not going to cover you. And they were rude about it too, the assholes. So I called one of these lawyers you see on TV, and he thinks, we could sue. And so he says, let me look into it after I explain it to him. Well, he calls me back the next day. I'm driving to Palm Springs or Laughlin or somewhere. I'm in a car with Marie, and no, shit, I'm by myself. And the guy calls, and I'm on I-5, and he says, you don't have a claim. You have to sue your brother personally. And of course I'm not going to do that. Christ Jesus, I'm not that big of an asshole. So, there's my 3 hole-in-one stories, and again, thank you for watching Storytime with Joe, and there you go.